On this week's GTA 6 o'clock, multi-language localization underway.
The thing that's interesting for me straight away is the languages that are being targeted here.
What the change at Xbox could mean for GTA 6.
The window in which Xbox might change direction or try to influence things might be too narrow.
And every side activity so far ranked. Underwater hunting, as I'm going to call it, is more fun than hunting in a forest. It's all here on this week's GTA 6 o'clock. Hello and welcome to episode 112 of GTA 6 o'clock, the world's most in-depth and best connected GTA 6 show. And things are a little bit different this week because we have been moved out of our studio while things get moved around. But rest assured, we will be back next week where things will look exactly the same. So this episode is going to be audio only if you're listening or watching on YouTube. It is still a video version. Our faces are no longer on the screen for this week only. I am your host, James JJ Jarvis, and here to analyse and discuss all of the week's details from the world of GTA and Rockstar games is Dan DD Dawkins.
Hello! It is my voice, but not my face.
Now, it nearly happened this week, Dan. After 112 episodes, I thought there might not be any news, finally, to talk about. But it turns out I was wrong, and we've got plenty to discuss. So there is always things to talk about when it comes to GTA 6. The first of which, as mentioned at the top, is that there is some, what appears to be, multi-language localization underway at Rockstar for what I can only assume is GTA 6. All of these new job listings have come up out of Rockstar Lincoln, which is the development studio in, wait for it, Lincoln in England. Good naming conventions they've got going on there. Rockstar New York, where do you think that's based?
If I was to hazard a guess, Lincoln?
It's close, yeah, close by. Just a few hundred miles away from Lincoln in New York. Rockstar New York. So this is a couple of different, what appear to be new job listings for localization QA testers. The languages that are listed aren't very surprising, I don't think. Italian, Japanese, Russian, simplified Chinese and Spanish so far. What the QA tester localization, given their full title, actually does is officially provide consultation during internationalization to aid with font selection, character support, texture review, UI design, and prototyping. All of that sounds like game things, correct?
Yes, it does. Now, and I think that the thing that's interesting for me straight away is the languages that are being targeted here. There's not that any of the languages targeted are not languages you would include, but there are some very big omissions from languages you would include. For example, it's got Italian and Spanish, tick, tick. French, question mark, not there. German, literally the biggest territory outside the UK, not there. So I wonder if this is like part of the puzzle or question mark is, and I should be able to research this, is this that those locations have their own localization in QA and Lincoln is doing a kind of everybody else style summary? I don't know, and that's probably something I should have looked up before the show, so I apologize.
Yeah, or the other side of that is these are just roles that have come up because some of these people have left and all of those other languages are still covered by the people who are currently there. Sure.
Sorry, and I thought I misread this. They need someone to do all of these languages.
No, they're separate roles for
separate
each one.
roles with you. Well, your explanation makes far more sense then.
Okay. There's a couple of other things on the website as well. There's an associate QA tester, compliance on the night shift. Now, their role is to check title functionality against compliance test cases and, where required, perform focused sweeps, ensure platform technical requirements are adhered to, and raise issues where they are not. Find and reproduce errors or problems in-game. They also need a full and complete understanding of the native systems and features of current-gen console platforms such as PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S. Nothing really unusual in here, other than to say that if you want to be an associate QA tester in compliance, you'll be essentially given a big list of things where people have reported bugs and trying to then go and replicate them and go, yes, this definitely happened. So, whoa, I nearly threw my laptop on the floor, listeners. It's all right. I caught it.
One day we don't have the cameras on.
I know.
It's almost a hilarious physical gag.
What was I saying? Yes, compliance, basically go and reproduce errors, much like throwing your laptop on the floor. Try and reproduce that.
That would fail.
But yeah, I think that my reading of that is that's what they're doing. They're going off with a big list of bugs and trying to replicate them and then say, we have managed to replicate this bug.
Yeah, compliance generally as a role, to be honest with you, sounds incredibly boring. So like the general role of a QA compliance specialist would be like ensuring games adhere to strict technical, legal and platform specific requirements for example, the Sony platform, Microsoft platform for Nintendo. It says that's often before release. So that can be games that meet guidelines for age ratings, accessibility, data privacy and console specific performance, preventing launch delays or fines. So I guess this is fine-tooth combing documentation, the presentation, everything, just going, does this meet the standards of the requisite platforms? So someone with an extremely tight eye for detail. What I don't really understand is why it has to be a nighttime role. Like, is it that compliance never sleeps? Or is this for stuff that maybe comes up in more of a sort of, it's the website and something's gone wrong? I don't understand that side of it.
Well, this is the bit I was going to get to. It's the interesting bit, I think, that it is a night shift, and Rockstar Lincoln treat their night shifts as 6:30 p.m. to 3 a.m. in the morning. And I was looking at this thinking, this role of the night shift exists surely because the day shift also exists. And what this could indicate is, how do you get more stuff done quickly? Is you basically do you basically do 2 days worth of work in one day. So you just put someone on a cycle and go through a whole nother day, but in the night you get a whole different team in, which means there's a lot of compliance to do, possibly leading up to the release of a game.
Yeah, without, my knowledge of compliance is limited. Like, I would just wonder why, for example, would you not, say you're employing 10 people in the daytime, why not employ 20 people in the daytime as opposed to, like, say, 10 for a morning shift and 10 for the evening?
You don't have enough desks.
Okay, that could be the answer.
Possibly.
Who knows? And, like, please, if you've been involved in compliance or testing or have had a more robust Googling than us, please do let us know. But whether it's something about the process that benefits from, like, that persistent application rather than, there are some activities that just throwing 20 people on at once won't actively help. If you see what I mean. I guess what would be my terrible example I would use here? Say you were using humans to lift up beds. After a certain point, no more humans can lift the bed. So you might be better off. Does that make sense? That's just a terrible example.
I don't think this is going the right way.
All right, it's going the wrong way. But what I'm saying is, specifically about beds, there's only a finite amount of hands that can hold a bed.
Yes.
So if you employ more people than that, they're a waste of person.
They're just standing around looking at the bed.
Yeah, they may as well start on the next bed or do the bed night shift.
Mm-hmm.
That's a quote for the ages that I hope to never repeat.
What an analogy that is.
Yes.
Well, speaking of night shifts, and this one might be more relevant to what you were trying to get at, there's also an associate QA tester for online services. Now, don't get too excited, because you could read this immediately and think, online services? I know what that is. And it's GTA Online. Unfortunately, no. This is an associate QA tester who is going to test website, commerce, and digital distribution platforms. So they work with the Rockstar Games Online Services QA team to ensure the quality and reliability of Rockstar's online services, websites, and platforms in support of multiple industry-leading titles. You identify, investigate, clarify, and look for documentation defects encountered during testing. All of this, I think, is just website upkeep and checking that all of the online systems are doing what they're meant to be doing. You also have to do this during the night shift between 6:30 and 3 a.m.
And I imagine compliance could be things like Sony have changed their platform rules and now list things this way. Now every page we create has to feature this. Does it? Tick, tick, tick. Change. Follow, process. I feel like I'd rather do the bed lifting job than this, all told.
Maybe. And possibly, now thinking about it, maybe the night shift work is important because then it feeds into US hours a lot more. And if they're having to do a lot of this across US and UK, I don't know why you wouldn't employ people to lift the bed up in the US, but you just have to do all the bed lifting over here.
Yeah, and again, whether the US version of this is different to the UK by territory, there's probably different. It's literally compliance, and that can be subject to legal things, which can be regional. It's definitely an area that I'm clear, as you can tell, I'm clearly no expert. I do welcome people in comments to add a bit more colour to this, or a bit more rigour, more compliance, if you will. But it's interesting that Rockstar, whether this is just business as usual or they are ramping up because there's a game coming out that needs some certifying. So let's see.
Okay, well, let's move on then to what the change at Xbox could mean for GTA 6. This is the news that Microsoft have announced Phil Spencer, the boss of its gaming division, and Xbox President Sarah Bond are stepping down from their roles as of, since the last episode of this podcast. So within the last week, they have stepped down. Phil Spencer's retiring after nearly 40 years at Microsoft and is being replaced by Asha Sharma, who previously oversaw some of Microsoft's AI initiatives, as well as a bunch of other things. And Matt Booty, who previously worked under Phil Spencer, has been promoted to Chief Content Officer. Now, Dan, what does this all mean for GTA 6? I think there's a short answer here. Probably not a lot.
Yeah, look, long story short, probably not a lot, because the window in which Xbox might change direction or try to influence things might be too narrow. We can talk a bit more about that and what that means, or what we think it means. I do find the entire nature of this departure utterly fascinating, and I think this is tangential to like GTA particularly, but like Phil Spencer leaving is huge news, right? This is a guy who's been led Xbox for many years, been at Microsoft even longer than that. Xbox has been in a difficult place, right? And I think their strategy of saying, Xbox everywhere, this is an Xbox, and your mobile phone is an Xbox, your PC is an Xbox, it's definitely been under fire. Giving away their exclusives to other platforms has been a big thing. Like Halo on a PlayStation, whoever would have thought that would have been a thing? And the thing behind all of this is, and this is really the truth behind any story like this, it's to do with money. And the truth is, Xbox, they haven't sold enough consoles. They're not selling enough games. Has Game Pass been a good thing for video games? ? That's an entirely different podcast. But it's hard to go. The reason Phil Spencer might be leaving because he's genuinely retiring. He's of an age. I'm sure he's done sufficiently well to walk away.
Yeah.
Sarah Bond, who by all accounts was positioned as his protege and successor, leaving, feels a bit more suspicious, you might say. But all of this indicates like a change in strategy, right, on Microsoft's part. And I think that's the bit where it's interesting, and it might loop round to GTA. Now, Asha Sharma, again, this is a whole other set of conversations. It's been quite visible on X, certainly, as a social platform, talking about what she wants to do with the brand, engaging with gamers, TM.
Yeah, engaging with people who are atting her, which is a move, quite a brave move.
It's a high-risk strategy, and people have been accusing her of, like, because she's got an AI background, using AI to write her replies to people, because she speaks in this sort of fake, not fake, it sounds fake.
Like corporate
speak, positive speak, right? But I think that's probably more to do with that's what these type of roles do to your brain. They turn you into an affirmo bot. It's like, that's a great idea, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to do this. Close on an action. Now, actually, as we speak, just recently, she's replied to another post by Ryan McCaffrey, who was talking about why would she fake her background? Why would she do this? The reason it's interesting is, one, she says, no, I do write my own posts. I put the AI thing to bed. The other is where she says at the end, my focus is to make Xbox the best place to play, return to our roots, ship great things, and become stronger for the future. So I don't know what that could mean in the context of GTA 6. And I don't know if you think it means anything at all.
I mean, like you say, I think short term, it's pretty hard to do any of those things. And short term is even 12 to 24 months, like a year or two is probably short term for that stuff. Like, you're not going to see any immediate changes. The tagline of best place to play has been around for Xbox for quite a long time. They've been using that for a while. So there's not really a change there. I guess the change is like refocusing potentially to make great products, or to make what they would consider, I guess, like first party studio games again and get back into the console market. But there's been quite a few headlines over the last week that have ranged from either Xbox will be sunsetted and taken, moved away from the console market and Xbox will just become a publisher or whatever, to Xbox is going to refocus on the console and the next one's going to be the best one ever and win the console wars because they're going back into hardware. I personally feel like I don't think it's a problem if they move away from an actual physical console anymore. Like, Game Pass, for better or worse, is quite a popular service, is on a lot of platforms now. Like, it's across a lot of different things, whereas like, PlayStation and Nintendo are not going down that route. You can see them doubling down on that and just going, how many places can we get the Xbox app in? And maybe there's a subscription tier where you unlock first-party games first, ahead of your other subscription tiers, which are already paying to unlock everything else. I don't know, but in terms of GTA 6, the only thing that they can do, which we talked about earlier this morning before we came and recorded this show, is some kind of marketing push to try and realign Xbox with GTA 6 in some way. But as we've talked about before, I think PlayStation and Sony have got that sewn up already.
Yeah, and I was just checking as we were speaking, do we definitively know there's a marketing relationship between Sony and Rockstar Games or Take-Two? Not formally announced. What we do know to be true is that after GTA 6 Trailer 2, Rockstar confirmed that it was captured on a base PS5. Am I remembering correctly? So I think even saying that versus saying on an Xbox Series X or an Xbox Series S, that is significant. Now, whether that's because, and this is the bigger picture with all this, there's just a load more PlayStation owners than Xbox owners. And there was a comment attributed to Bloomberg's Jason Schreier, who's very well connected, very well respected. Now, Jason Schreier had said, this is going back earlier in the year, he'd said GTA 6 is kind of like a PS5 exclusive. Now, to add a bit more context to that, he said, I'm sure they'll sell millions on Xbox, but PlayStation is the main platform. So it's almost, in some ways, it's kind of like a PlayStation exclusive. He says most of the sales will be on PlayStation, and it will sell a lot of PS5s alongside it. So I suspect that Sony is planning its entire calendar around GTA and will not release anything in the blast zone. Now, I think that's Schreier saying more. He's not saying he's heard something. He's just reverse engineering the fact that PlayStation is massive. So even if Xbox today had done a deal with Rockstar, GTA 6 is still probably going to be played on more PlayStation consoles than Xbox consoles. This side of Xbox going, we've given Take-Two an amount of money that would be astonishing.
Yeah, buy a copy of GTA 6, get a free Xbox.
Yeah, or we've given Take-Two $2 billion or something, or the equivalent of the first 2 weeks' sales, and the game's only on Xbox.
Yeah, and I mean that's not going to happen. And also, going back to the quote that you read out, that's not how exclusives work. Just because you sell a load of more copies, it doesn't. And I know that's not what he's saying.
Yes.
But just for clarification, like, sure, if you sell 500,000 copies on PlayStation and only one copy on Xbox, it's still a multi-platform game. But I know what he's getting at there, that it's just like you say, the ecosystem is going to be very heavily PlayStation focused because that's where all the player base is. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and like if you wanted to really go down the it's officially linked to Sony path, there was a quote attributed to Detective Seeds. Remember that account?
Yeah.
You know, do you believe everything there? Where Detective Seeds had written a cryptic, there were 2 more PlayStation partnerships that have not been announced yet and should happen before what was then their summer show last year. And someone was saying it's a big marketing deal, but it's just vague posting, right? Like it's not definitive. Like I do think it's more probable that Rockstar would align with Sony.
As they have done historically.
Yeah, as they have done. And that will be things like the ability to put their logo on the box or to feature the game in a bundle or, you know, just to do more co-marketing that makes it feel more PlayStation-y, even though it's actually available everywhere.
Yeah, like your TV spots end with buy it now on PlayStation.
Yeah.
Rather than play it on Xbox.
And that is huge for what will be a cultural phenomenon, we think. Now, if that deal does exist, which it probably does by this stage, because we're less than 6 months out from launch, or about 6 months out from launch, Xbox aren't going to be able to blunder in, even with billions of dollars, and go, you know, rip up that deal. We're going to pay. I don't know. Maybe there's some clause where it just seems unlikely. That's not how contracts work, right? So I don't think Xbox have much ability to influence it at this stage. Looking through time, if they really wanted to get behind Xbox, could they do things like, I don't know, when there's an enhanced update, you know, when there's a new PC release, the PC release of GTA 6, does Xbox get first dibs on GTA 6 V.2 or whatever it is? Does it get first dibs on certain types of GTA Online content? It only gets first dibs if it pays. Is the blunt reality of it. So it's a test then of how meaningful Xbox's commitment to, as it says, best place to play, return to our roots, ship great things and become stronger for the future. It's very vague. And like return to your roots would be what? More exclusives again?
Halo.
Yeah, exactly.
Return to Halo again.
Make Halo good again.
Yeah.
Make it a platform exclusive. There's a whole other podcast about what Xbox would need to do to get back in the game. And they're truthfully, they're miles off it at the moment. They're miles off it. And you haven't got to do much thinking or be that savvy to go, there's a reason Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond have left. Even if you believe, for example, the stories that have gone in The Verge in the last couple of days about, it sounds a bit like a lot of things were pinned on Sarah Bond, now she's left conveniently.
Yeah. And now she's left, we get to do something else. And we're spearheading a new initiative, and you're going to find out what that is soon.
Yeah, and you know the story that came out yesterday was former Xbox architect Seamus Blackley saying that the new CEO has come in to sunset Xbox. Sunset being a polite word for
take it outside.
Yeah, take it outside, and that's the end of Xbox, which could be what it is. But if you're out there publicly saying best place to play, return to our roots, ship great things and become stronger for the future, stronger for the future is not death.
No.
I mean, you know, maybe in some movies where characters come back as ghosts or something, right? I don't think Xbox is coming back as some kind of Force ghost.
No, and that would only be like if Microsoft itself were returning to its roots, you could say it's going back to PC and being a platform and making Windows, etc. But I don't think that's what this is, because we're focusing on the gaming side of the business, which, you know, could realistically be a question around new head of company comes in and says, all right, let's look at all the balance sheets. Actually, the Xbox gaming part of this company is not our strongest thing. So maybe we should refocus onto something else. I'm sure the response to that would be, but hang on a minute, we need to stay in the console game because look what's down the road. We're about to explode with what I'm assuming will be the next generation of Xbox hardware, whatever that ends up being. So let's wait till that and see what happens then.
Only weeks ago, Sarah Bond and Phil Spencer were referencing the next console plan. An email she sent to the company about her departure was leaked, and it mentioned the next console, kind of wrapping up their successes so far. And I don't know. And something that Xbox might be able to play up, though it's not really in their control, was if, when GTA 6 launches, it performs better on, Xbox Series X than PS5 Pro. That seems really unlikely to me, though.
Yeah, considering that if we think what we think is true is that it's basically been lead developed on PlayStation.
Yeah.
You'd have to go a stretch to make it perform better on a console you haven't lead developed it for.
No, it just feels insane. And the same for Pro is like the latest console, the most expensive console, the most powerful console. If it's being optimized for anything, you would think it's that.
Yeah.
So it feels even more. Xbox don't really feel like they can influence that. It would need something like Digital Foundry or someone to go, you won't believe it, but the game runs better on Series X. And then Xbox might lean into promoting that fact in marketing.
I still wouldn't believe it, and I'd still buy it on PlayStation.
No, it just doesn't seem, exactly. And you're not going to be so much better. You're going to sell your PlayStation to play it on Xbox Series X.
No.
It just feels too late for them to influence anything meaningfully right now around it. And the bigger question around Xbox, wow, let's wait and see, because there's definitely some, this is not the right forum for it, but you're whispering in Asher Sharma's ear. What are you doing to take Xbox back to the big time?
Wow.
Yeah, just drop that on you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they've got a lot of projects and a lot of companies that they own now. I guess you'd go, we haven't heard anything. What are our biggest games that we haven't heard anything from for ages that will really get the community excited again? Elder Scrolls.
Yeah.
Do an Elder Scrolls announcement. We have to assume Elder Scrolls is still years away.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
Elder Scrolls 6 will be an Xbox exclusive on the new hardware that is coming in 2028. That feels like it's not a good enough announcement, though, is it? Like 2 years away. Give us 2 years and we'll get better.
I'd commit all of the crimes that the console manufacturers did back in the mid-2000s, where I'd effectively do a Killzone 2, where I'd have a showcase where I would say, Halo, whatever number it is now, right? Halo, a trailer that makes it look better than, like, God's washing room, right? Just unbelievable. All of that music, all the feels, just create a swell of emotion and then go, you like that? Elder Scrolls exclusive to Xbox. You'll never play it anywhere else for 6 months. And blam, 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 basically pull every lever all at once.
Yeah.
And I think it takes that level of megaton to change this tanker around.
Get your big 10 games together, make a load of real nice in-game if possible, but CGI trailers that are like game representative. Pick a moment like the summer, like a traditional old, you would have done it at E3 normally at their big conference, and go, we're going to show you the next generation of Xbox. We can't show you the hardware, but here's all the software.
Oh yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, it could be some current gen, and by the way, we're announcing a new console, and by the way, it's got these games on it.
And by the way, it's £250.
Yeah. Woo! All that power. It runs Elder Scrolls in the new Halo. They look like Jesus's best trainers, and it's £250.
Yeah, and it's half the price of everything else.
But that would turn out. But I do think, for Xbox, it really is in. I'm sorry for the constant religious analogies. They're in a Hail Mary moment where I think it takes something unbelievable to turn the ship around in terms of perception for what that brand can be. So, yeah, wow. Anyway, not the concern of GTA 6 o'clock, but let's wait to see what happens there, and let's see if they can do anything to influence what will be a 10-year trajectory of GTA 6.
Well, speaking of playing games, Dan, what I thought we would do now for a bit of fun is have a look at all the side activities that we've currently seen in the GTA 6 screenshots and trailers, and rank them in order of, I guess, how good we think each one of these will be to do in game.
Yeah.
Or I guess how good they are in general, or how invested you think people are going to be in them in the real world and then in the game world. So I think there's about 12 side activities we've seen so far. If I've missed any out, please let me know in the comments.
Yeah.
And we will readdress the ranking next week. But picking one out of here, and I think we'll just say we'll put number 1 at the top for now, and then we'll see if anything outranks it as we go down the list.
Oh, wow.
So let's start with a game of pool, not the swimming pool, a game of 8-ball pool.
Sorry, are we saying that's number 1?
Well, it's number 1 right now because it's the only one we mentioned.
Oh, sorry. So we're saying that's the best activity, or it's just the first thing we're talking about?
Currently, it's the best one because it's the only one we've talked about. Currently, pool is number 1.
Okay.
Let's see if anything kicks it off the top.
I mean, at this stage, it's hard to argue with the only game that's been announced. Is pool the the snooker version of pool, not swimming pool, a good mini game? Yeah, I think it actually is a deceptively good mini game. Because it's it's that classic thing of simple to pick up, difficult to master. And you could make it a mini game of physics. It could be a thing where you could make it a thing you do against other characters in the game to get one up on them or call in favors. And each of them might be of different skills. So one of your friends is a certain type of player, one is another. You could probably, make this deceptively interesting, I think. Because there's quite a good history of surprisingly good-looking and fun-to-play pool games. Maybe I like pool more than most people.
No, I think all of that stuff works. And a good thing for you to do, as a couple. So Jason and Lucia could just go out and you could play pool and just hang out in a bar. And like you say, one of them is probably an AI-controlled character. But another thing that you could do online as well. And, jump in, come play pool with me in GTA 6, please. So far, top of the list.
Yeah.
Okay, put that then up against mini golf.
Mini golf versus big golf.
So what we've seen in the screenshots, obviously, is what looks like, what we would call over here crazy golf. I don't know if that's what it's called in America, but it's basically the tiny holes that you get with a windmill on or a crocodile that opens his mouth in time and you have to putt it into his mouth and then get it in the hole at the end. Normally about 2 or 3 shots should get you to the end.
Do you know what? This also is potentially quite good. It's very similar to pool, isn't it? Where it's a physics-based emergent simulation where you choose your shot power, direction and swerve and you get to visually enjoy the results. The beauty of mini golf is they can do, here's the bespoke mini golf course of the Leonida Keys. Here's the bespoke mini golf course of, you name your area, right, within the GTA 6 map. That's quite fun, I think. So maybe in a way this has got more variety. I don't like it as much as pool because pool's got the purity of pool appears to me, but actually mini golf could be a surprise winner.
And plenty of different options for theming, like you say. Imagine if there was a Liberty City mini golf course somewhere in GTA 6 that you could go and go, gone back in time and played some old school stuff. Okay, so we're putting that at number 2 so far because it's only the second one.
Do you agree that is it underneath pool or above pool?
I think more people would be into playing pool in game than they would be mini golf. I still quite like mini golf.
Yeah.
And especially if it could be somehow drop in, drop out, couch, co-op mini golf. So just for that bit, someone can play as Lucia and do the mini golf bit. That would be fun in the same way that you could do that with pool. So I think number 2 is fine.
Yeah, agreed.
Let's go up the other end of the scale then quickly. Dirt bike racing.
Yeah, to do a dirt bike racing game well, you've got to really lean in hard and think about. Remember that PlayStation 3 game? Was it MotorStorm?
Yeah.
Which had the best mud physics you've ever seen. Now we do know almost for a fact that GTA 6 is going to feature incredible mud physics. We've seen it in the screenshots. We've seen characters caked with mud of different density and dampness, right? It's incredible. So if you're going to have a dirt bike racing sim, it's got to lean into that. It's got to be massively deteriorating real-time tracks. The question then becomes how compatible is that with the physics of the Earth or the rest of the real world? Or does it need to become like a bespoke thing that you get like almost portaled into and portaled out of again? Or is it a completely consistent thing within the environment?
I mean, you'd definitely be able to ride your dirt bikes around the open world anyway.
Yeah.
So you'd think it would just be that, but then you're going through checkpoints on a course, or you think it could be more of like there is a stadium beginning and end type bit, and it is much more of a kind of like story-ish based like actual event that you would turn up to go and do.
It looks more like it's kind of a semi-official activity that a group you bump into organise. And then it becomes a side mission you can tackle if you want to. Like, me and the guys meet up and do these races and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's pretty good. But do I like dirt racing? Not really.
Do you like doing it more than mini golf?
No.
Okay, all right, so then...
It's very hypothetical, of course,
Of course.
But I think I would be more excited by, say, a bespoke Liberty City mini golf course that featured an amazing third hole with a roller coaster and a loop-the-loop. I personally might find that more exciting than a relatively safe dirt bike racing course. But then maybe I'm not being creative enough. Maybe there's a dirt bike racing course that's like... You know what I mean? There's a difference between a dirt bike racing sim and it's Rainbow Road on Mario Kart. Like, one that's got crazy jumps, extreme dips. So I think it's all in the course design. So, but, look, just because I'm not that big on racing, for me, less exciting than the other two.
Fine, we'll put it in at number 3. Less high octane, still, of course, as equally as important, fishing. How much fishing did you do in the time that you spent in the Red Dead 2 universe?
You know the answer to this.
Yeah.
I would say I would think I did nil fishing, no fishing. Was it good, James?
I mean, it's fine. I did some fishing. It didn't ever get the sense that I wanted to load up the game to go fishing. Like, I would go fishing if I had to, or I wanted to try and catch a fish that was in the thing that I needed to go and do to complete the wildlife hunting things.
Yeah.
Sure. Would I do it outside of anything like that? Not really. But in much the same way that you talked about dirt bike racing, I don't play fishing games either. And then there's a big market for fishing games. People obviously enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's just like, for a game or a system within another game, I'd rather just be playing GTA 6 and doing stuff in the open world than I would go fishing within that world, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I definitely know what you mean. It for me, the appeal of fishing in real life is it's in real life, and it's the calm, the zen, the environment, the conversation while you're waiting, the blah blah blah. You can kind of capture that in video games, and there's scenes, for example, in Death Stranding 2 where not that they go fishing, but there's a pit where you can basically relax in a warm mud pool, which is stupid, and it regenerates your character. But actually, the way they make that fun is there's a series of stupid things that happen. So your little marionette character sings a song and he swims, and you look up in the stars, and this is classic. There's like a constellation that spells out Hideo Kojima's face, and it glistens, and like there's messages hidden in the stars.
Yeah.
So they make the ambience like a feature in itself. It still doesn't make me that excited about fishing, and for me, this is the 4th of 4 so far.
Fair enough. Well, on a similar vein then, let's cover hunting off, because that's just fishing but on land.
Yeah, a bit more fun because you're shooting things.
Things being the defenseless animals.
Defenseless animals. So the ethical dimension aside, if you look, they're not real. GTA isn't real.
No, and a bear, I will say, is probably not that defenseless. He has big paws and could probably kill you.
Whether he's defenseless to a really long sniper barrel is a different thing. But in theory, a bit more fun because it's you're moving around the terrain, you're picking your position. It's like a sniping mini game meets a open world stealth game, and has the ability for the bosses, inverted commas, to really scale up. And it could end in a OMG, it's Bigfoot or something.
Mm-hmm.
You accidentally shot the only surviving Bigfoot, you dunce. Stuff like that is quite funny-ish. I'm still not crazy about it. I think, like you, I would place this 4 of the 5.
Under dirt bike racing, but above fishing.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's about right.
Okay. Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, let's look at some potential team-based games again then. Basketball, which could be an entire team, could also be one-on-one, 2v2, 3v3.
Yeah.
There's lots of options going on here. Quite fun.
This is difficult. I mean, Take-Two released quite a good basketball game.
Yeah.
To what level would you want to ape or simulate the physics from that? Do you remember this? There was a rumor that, I can't remember, one of the famous basketballers was going to be in GTA. Have I just invented that in my mind?
Probably not. I mean, there's been 112 episodes. We've probably said a lot of things.
We've probably said a lot of things. Anyway, that needs digging back on. Like, that would be a really cool cameo to drop where, OMG, it's famous basketball player, the person I can't remember.
And they could play for, like, the Vice City basketball team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And bring you into... And there's lots of... We've all played lots of different basketball games, whether it's some things that are a bit more fun and arcadey, like your NBA Jam style thing, or do you remember when EA Big did a basketball game that was quite fun and arcadey?
Yeah.
Or something much more simulation based. But I think for Rockstar, you want to keep it relatively light and probably more of a one-on-one 2v2 style game than a 5-on-5 sim feels quite complex. And that's NBA's Jam, if you'll excuse the pun.
Yes.
So yeah, but I don't know, where do you think that sits relative to the
I mean,
others?
I think it's like you say. I think it's definitely a concrete court kind of thing rather than inside a stadium. I think if they're gonna, it looks like basketball in some way is in the game, but I think it's going to be like one of those like urban court environments rather than anything else. And then like, is that fun? Like what? I don't know what the gamification of this is within the context of GTA 6. Like, what's the point of playing basketball other than, just for fun and something to do? Are you improving your stamina? Are you winning money by putting bets on it against
How does
someone?
it ladder up into the wider... It could be a betting thing where you take people on one-on-one and
But you're only going to win like minimal dollars for that, right? You're not going to go, hey,
it's not going to be
£10,000.
Play 10,000 games of basketball or one heist. it's I don't know. It feels... Yeah.
I think I would put, just for those reasons, it below dirt bike racing.
But above hunting and fishing.
Yeah.
I agreed.
Because I think dirt bike racing is more fun to do.
And you will be driving as part of the core gameplay anyway. Basketball will almost certainly require its own bespoke set of physics and mini games. There's a lot of imponderables there.
Okay, let's whip through these next few reasonably quickly. Canoeing, which I don't really know if it is a side activity. It's more of a transportation device, I think, like just canoeing around the various rivers and lakes, looking at things.
I've got very moderate excitement for this.
Less fun than fishing.
Less fun than fishing?
Yeah.
What, you think literally the last thing?
Well, so far.
I'm going to agree with you, but just with the verbal caveat that if they made it in genuinely white water rapids that had amazing physics, I'm just fooling myself. I'm not that excited about it. Put it in last.
Something that is still water-based, scuba diving, I think is more fun than canoeing. Because hey, don't make that face.
Oh, I made a face. Again, you can't see the face I'm making, but it's like, in my mind, it's when Al Pacino purses his lips as he's unsure about something.
There's a lot of mysteries down there in the old scuba diving world. You can go discover a lot of hidden treasures and secrets and things like that.
You're right. That is interesting. And the scenery and the sort of strangers and freaks discovery side of it, interesting. What is not interesting and has never ever been good in a video game, I'm going to say controversially, name me a video game where underwater swimming was actually fun and a good thing you look forward to in the game.
Well, I can't do that, can I? But That's because most of the time, I think you don't have a scuba kit. So normally when you're swimming under the water...
It's high stress, right?
Yeah, because you're like, I need to get from point A to point B before I run out of breath. Whereas in this, I imagine you have the freedom to spend quite a lot of time down there and don't have to worry about that. The only thing you have to worry about is getting eaten by sharks. So underwater hunting, as I'm going to call it, is more fun than hunting in a forest because of the mysteries you might be able to find hidden in the depths. Like you might come across like a wooden shack that leads into a mine shaft, and that's where the bear lives. Fine, but isn't it more fun to go and dive onto a wrecked ship and swim around that and then avoid the sharks?
I mean, look, I don't feel strongly enough about it to argue with you, but I am making a bit more of the Al Pacino face. I just hate underwater sections in games. It's slow. It's the worst possible way to use a video game 3D camera. I'm just, you know what it's like when you're trapped inside a ship underwater. And you're trying to move the camera around, and it keeps glitching on the edges of like, should I be inside the boat or outside the boat? I can't decide. The game has glitched. Oh, and you're drowning because you've got no oxygen. There's a shark nibbling at your legs.
You've reminded me, actually, the underwater sections in Assassin's Creed Black Flag were actually pretty good.
Oh, okay. I've not played that, so I'm going to take your word for it.
And I did do a lot of those things like off my own back, and when actually I am going to go and do some more underwater diving.
Wow, okay. Well, look, let us know what you think in the comments, but I'm not able to counter that, so place this where you will, James.
I've put it below hunting but above fishing for now.
Yep, good.
We've now got tennis. Now, as we've talked about before, Rockstar have the tabletop version of tennis.
Yeah.
And tennis has been in GTA 5 anyway. We've seen it in the screenshots of GTA 6. Definitely in there. Probably doubles or solo tennis matches. I think, again, it will be a thing that you just turn up to and can just do. And there's a reasonably, it's not... I think the system they've got in the moment in GTA 5 is good enough to just polish that up a bit and put it in 6. It's kind of fun. I'd put it like top 3, like maybe third.
Yeah. Tennis it's hard to get wrong, really, isn't it? You get the physics up to speed, and tennis is super fun.
Higher than 3? Is it more fun than mini golf?
No, because, as I say, mini golf gives you the ability to create bespoke courses that create awe and wonder or absurdity, where tennis is probably played on clay or grass, which is a bit less exciting.
Yeah. Okay. Something that isn't a team sport, gym or working out, probably a side activity. We've seen Jason doing it in the trailer. I think this is below canoeing.
This is bad. Gym is bad because gym mechanics...
It's just tapping buttons.
The best version of gym is to replicate the agony of going to the gym, where it's like, excuse me, anyone who doesn't remember.
Is it like lifting a bed?
It's like track and field or the
track and field was great.
Daily Thompson's to Cab. But that's what I mean. This is the only way to save this is to make a grueling physical button basher where your character gets stronger as your fingers burn to a crisp with lactic acid. That would make this, I think, horrific, but in a way fun, and echo the fact your character's getting stronger because you've actually burnt for it.
Yeah, okay.
That's okay. But like if it's depress R2, hold L2, do it in rhythm, like a boring rhythm action game, that's deeply boring. And you're just watching like Jason Odisea go, oof, oof, oof. It's last place for me.
Fine. Well, you would go to the gym in training for your fighting / what might be like MMA style cage matches. Obviously the screenshot we've seen with Lucia could be doing that kind of thing. Now that is more fun than the gym. You can make a game out of that with blocking and learning when to counter and moving around the arena and that kind of stuff. It's probably up there for me. Maybe it's definitely above hunting.
Yeah.
Would I do it more than I would want to go and do basketball? It's that kind of level. I'm putting it around there.
It's all in the mechanics and how fun they are, isn't it? Because fighting games, you could make a game like, Fight Night or something that's genuinely deep and strategic and blah, blah, blah. That's probably not what they're going to do. If it's just an adaptation of the controls you have to punch people in the open world, it's probably going to be a bit limited and then not very fun. You would think. So I'm not, it's very mechanic dependent, but for me it's midway-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And finally, I've gone out on a little bit of a limb here of playing console games based on the fact that you can see the recreation of a PlayStation 5 in Jason and Lucia's apartment, which is another nod to I imagine, the Sony marketing machine at work going, well, if you're going to put any console in there, it's got to be our one, or your parody of our new machine, please. Can you play that console or not is still a question to be answered, but you can definitely watch TV in the game. Can you play some kind of mini game on that PS5? Can you play something like the original Grand Theft Auto on your PlayStation 5 version equivalent in GTA 6? That would be quite the thing. Definitely technically possible, I would have thought.
Oh, I would have thought so. And you could maybe even go further. Like, could you even run...
You could run 3.
GTA 3. Could you... Yeah, maybe. Could you run The Warriors? Could you run Bully? Definitely run Ping Pong, I think.
Yeah, maybe.
Games like that. Now, but all that aside, in your experience of video games that contain video games, how many of you actually liked and actually played?
Not that many, but I think that's because most of them are video games that have been created to be video games within a video game. Whereas if, it's a big if, Rockstar decide to do something like this, it is an actual game that is good, that you can play within another game. So it's not like, oh, do you want to play this knockoff version of Pac-Man within The Last of Us? And you're like, not really, because The Last of Us is better. I'd rather just wander around and play that, please. But if I could play something like some of Rockstar's back catalogue within GTA 6, would certainly keep me in GTA 6 for quite a long time.
Yeah, would it? I don't know. Like, I'm thinking, how did you feel about Crash Bandicoot within Uncharted 4?
Yeah, like one level. Like, you couldn't play the whole game.
Was it?
Yeah. Good. I enjoyed that. Good section. Good callback to a historic franchise within new franchise. Well done.
Yeah, you're right. And it was a different context, wasn't it? Quite good.
And they could definitely do something like that. Like, just have a section that is, like Jason's playing Manhunt one evening
while Lucia commentates.
Yeah.
And goes like, oh my God, this is horrific.
Yeah, I can't believe they released this.
Yeah.
That would be a fun way to sort of like do some nods back to
and that's actually a very clever way to provide meta commentary on your own output. I think that's quite a good thing they could do. So yeah, that please.
Okay, and that would go, I'd say, quite high.
Yeah.
If all of those things.
Yeah, and this is the one for me. Actually, on one hand, this is my worst thing done badly.
Yeah.
But assuming it's going to be that, they're replaying Manhunt and Lucia's re-referees it 20 years on, that can go quite high.
Right at the top?
Oh, not right at the top. But then again, that should be better than playing pool. You know how somehow pool's the number one thing in our mini game list.
Well, what if we're playing, because you're playing console games, you can just play pool on your console at home. Why go to the pool house?
Oh, this is very meta.
If you can just stay at home and play all the games.
Yeah, you play a game of the game. Yeah,
these mini games are now within your house.
It's too
much like life.
Yes.
Well, okay. For now, I'm putting it at the top because we need to wrap this show up.
Yeah.
And it'll be some good debate in the comments. So we're going console games, pool, mini golf, tennis, dirt bike racing, fighting or MMA.
Yeah.
Basketball, hunting, scuba diving, fishing, and at the very bottom, canoeing. Let us know what you think about that list of side activities in the comments below. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, congratulations. This episode is exactly the same as the one you'll find on YouTube. But please head over there anyway and let us know what you think about the show. We'll be back in the studio next week to discuss all of these things and more on another episode of GTA 6 O'Clock.